Hey, good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining the live stream. Today, I'm going to be joined by the owners of the Swiss Watch Company. My name is Torin, and I'll let you guys do introductions, I guess, when everyone arrives.
Hey guys, my name's Jacob. I'm the youngest brother. My dad and Joshua will be joining here very shortly, and we're excited to be here.
Yeah, thanks for making time. I knew you guys were already doing one live stream, or was it over Instagram for the Watch Corner, right?
We did, yeah. We did an Instagram live with Steve from the Watch Corner. That was great. We had a lot of comments come through. Hope to see the same people bounce back, and we'll get those questions if we missed any. But it was a good time. We really enjoy doing these.
Yeah, again, thanks for making the time. Typically, I'll ask what watch you're wearing today, if you're wearing a watch, and then I'll just quickly jump into the chat, see if anyone else is watching live right now.
Okay. For my wrist today, I've got the brown bunker on the titanium bracelet.
Oh,
Let's
very
see if I
nice.
can do a wrist roll here. The bunker bracelet, for those of you who don't know, it just came out on pre-order. Here's Josh.
Hey, Torin, how's it going?
Hey, Josh.
Just in time.
Sorry I'm late.
No worries.
Hello,
there we
Jordan.
go. We got.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, everybody.
So now
Sorry I'm a little late here.
Yeah, Josh and Steve joined. Thanks for making time. I was just doing a quick wristwatch check, so I know we already got the representing the bunker. What are you guys wearing today?
I'm the same. I've got my bunker. I'm trying to find the camera here. Khaki on the Velcro, the nylon Velcro strap. I've worn this since it came out. Really, this has been the one I've been wearing. Beat the heck out of it, and it's still going strong.
That's awesome.
And what are you wearing, Dad?
What I'm wearing? I am wearing one of our watches that we're gonna come out with in the next couple of.
Oh wow! Is that a Uyghur? Like a
pilot
watch, yes.
Oh, that's what I've been requesting. Actually, I think I know you guys have been successful in releasing different types of watches, but it's always nice to have a good pilot's watch, in my opinion.
So we'll send the sample to you. Well, not a sample; it's actual production, and so you can give us your opinion in a review.
Thanks. Yeah, and to segue into that, today I'm actually wearing the next watch I'll be reviewing. And
hey, look at that!
Yeah,
glad that Bob could get it over to you.
Yeah, so Bob from Time to Go Travel and Timepiece was very gracious in shipping me this watch. We actually live fairly close by. We're about less than 2 hours away from each other, so it works out.
Okay. Oh, that's practical.
Yeah, and I threw it on this orange NATO. I don't know.
That looks good with it.
Yeah, it comes with these elastic straps, which you guys do an excellent job with, by the way. But I tend to... I like the fact that this watch is so thin, so you can easily pass a NATO through it. And
yes.
How does it feel so far?
Oh, it feels amazing. Like you're not even wearing a watch, really.
Yeah,
the dimensions are great. Yeah. So I'm just going to quickly jump into the chat to see who's watching with us. Ride, paddle, repeat. Good evening, everyone. Full disclosure, that's my twin brother. He has his own YouTube channel. He does a lot of cycling and outdoors when paddling. So let's see. Keith's here. Hey, Keith, thanks for joining. He joins us on our Saturday night live stream on Sanjay's channel, Engineer Wannabe, on YouTube. We got Wilson here too. Waiting for all the tornadoes. Interesting. Clinton from Watchdog Podcast. He joins us on live stream sometimes as well. And of course, he's got his own podcast. So it's great to have him joining the stream. Underachieving Watch Collectors here. How's it going, man?
Got a good crew here.
Yeah. Bill K. Nice to see Swiss Watch Company. Yeah, I'm glad you guys finally get a chance to interact live. We got Andrew Holt. And, we got Random Rob. Wow.
Oh, hey, Rob.
Hey,
Morning,
Rob.
man.
There you go.
Yeah, got some heavy hitters here now.
Here's Mauricio. Hey, Mauricio. The Oracle.
And Peter's joining as well, all right, from Boston. Underachieving watch collectors enjoying the straps. That's great. He actually won one of my 5K giveaway prizes was a bunch of straps, and the other giveaway was a Zelos Mako version 3 watch. So,
Very
Great
nice.
watch.
yeah. All right, yeah. So we got a fair group here. I appreciate everyone making the time, kickstarting their weekend. And I understand you guys were already doing another interview earlier in the day, so that's great. And you guys are out in Colorado, correct?
Nevada, yeah.
No, Nevada. Sorry, yeah.
Nevada, yeah.
Yeah, it's close.
Yeah, they are pretty close.
One or two states over.
Yeah, how's it been there? It's really starting to feel like fall in Southwest Ontario, like colder and all the colors coming out now. It's probably not
we still have green trees, so
yeah.
Yeah, it's we like to jump in the desert. We like to jump straight into winter, unfortunately. So
Yeah, that's what happened.
We have about a week of fall, and then it's just straight into the winter.
Yeah, wow.
But yeah, we're in the middle of nowhere. If you look out our window, I don't know if we'll be able to.
I don't know if we can get through the glare at the window here.
But
let's see if it'll focus in.
Yeah, we're
maybe a little bit there.
We're in the middle of
There you
nowhere.
go.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yep. That's
So it's just us in the desert and the rocks.
Well, that's one way to live.
Yeah, it sure is.
Yeah, we can mind our own business quite easily.
So I was wondering, maybe to kick things off, and I don't have like a really strong agenda, but for people that are going to be watching back later or who aren't too familiar with the company, can you maybe just give like a high-level overview of how you guys started off, and then can you just quickly talk about like some of the releases that you guys have put out over the past couple of years, and then we can maybe transition in talking about the latest one that I'm wearing, which is the Arc.
Okay.
That'd be best answered by either my dad or Josh here.
I'll make it very quick on my side. I started in the watch world at a tender age of 16. I am now a little bit older than 16. If you can, Josh was 31, so that was way before Josh. Okay, when I started, I've been in the watch industry now for 36 years professionally, of which I worked 15 years for the Swatch Group, and 7 years in Switzerland and 7 years overseas. And overseas, I was responsible for quality assurance and manufacturing, assembly of movements and watches, watch assembly as a whole. So gained a lot of experience in the early years of my life, and was always very, very interested in watches. It was always something that I was, it was just special to me, because growing up in Switzerland, it's watches, chocolate, and the last vice of banking, and we don't want to talk about that because otherwise people will get a little
pharmaceuticals.
There you go.
Yeah, and then I can give a quick overview of SWC. My dad, after working for the Swatch Group, moved from Thailand, which is where myself and my brother Jeremy, who is our watchmaker in Switzerland, were born. We moved from there when I was about 5 or 6. My dad started Swiss Watch Company here in the States, did watches for the armed forces and first responders. So there's still Swiss Watch Company, Marine Corps watches floating out there. We still service them to this day. And then around, that was in 1996? 1996. And then in 2000, well, 5 or 6 years ago, when I came on, my dad did the watches for the Marine Corps. And then outside of that, he did a lot of OEM work for other watch brands, other micro brands. For example, my dad was the one that he oversaw the manufacturing for the Ming 17 series. So he's worked with some in the micro brand world, some prestigious brands, a lot of brands that we want to stay separate because they're their own thing. And so we're starting with the diver about 5 or 6 years ago. We posted the diver to social media, to Instagram, and we got a Kickstarter date. And then, we're here. That's basically how we got here.
Yeah, I remember when the diver first came out, there was a lot of hype generated around it, like specifically within the YouTube and the watch community, because I think it checked so many boxes, had a fairly unique design, and it was at a price point that was really obtainable for a lot of people.
Yeah, and my dad, he was able to get us around. One of the things for anyone getting into a micro brand, one of the biggest hurdles you need to overcome is sourcing your parts, your watches, your manufacturing. Yeah. It's a huge hurdle, and it's where a lot of micro brands die, unfortunately. And sometimes it can take 1 or 2 releases to work out the kinks. Wherewith we had the advantage where my dad, we were able to come onto the scene with a good first launch. It was able to have, like you said, check a lot of the boxes and have the quality there. But really, that's due to my dad's experience. So we had a pretty hefty advantage there, and it's we still have that. So he's I always tell people he's the heart of the company, really, and all of the quality, the designs, all of that. That's thanks to him and his experience being in the watch industry for longer than I've been alive, really.
Yeah, most people, they'll deal with me and Josh through emails and Instagram, but the mastermind, as Mauricio said, the Oracle, he's sitting right here on the left.
Mauricio.
Yeah, and I think to your guys' benefit, I think one of the things that really stood out getting your brand going is also just engagement with consumers and customer service as well, right? Like I know personally I sent in my diver to be regulated, or there was something wrong with it. And it came back and it was like operating in the best tolerances ever. Like honestly, it was like off by 1 or 2 seconds a day at most.
Yeah, that's one thing that we've stepped up since we first started. Like my brother, he watchmaker in Switzerland. He assembles all of our watches, and he regulates to 5 positions. So watches we send out now will have the regulation papers. And then when they come here, usually Jacob, who also worked on watches with brushing. He did brushing for Rolex in Switzerland for quite some time. He does a second check here in the States just to make sure, because things as a watch movement gets going while it's traveling, it can kind of settle in and make more adjustments. So, but yeah, I mean, that's really the most enjoyable thing about running a micro brand. It's something Jacob, he took over in about March. He runs the social media and emails now. He does a fantastic job. And that's what makes it enjoyable, the community. It's a great community. It
really is.
Especially when compared to some other communities out there, some other enthusiast communities. The watch community really stands out as a good one. A lot of great people in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and specifically what I want to touch on too is like a lot of micro brands, I don't want to say they lack in service or in customer support, but you know, some people, especially if it's a newer brand or if it's a Kickstarter micro brand, you know, you don't necessarily know if there's a QC issue or something that needs to be done with the watch in the future, if it's going to be reliably, you know, taken care of by the owners. And I think through multiple interactions you guys have had, you know, that's always been like at the forefront, and it's been, you know, very good and transparent. So I really appreciate that, specifically about the Swiss Watch Company.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
That's thanks to my dad. I mean, we have a video on our YouTube channel of my dad servicing, I think it's a firefighter watch from the early 2000s. So it's we're lucky to have the security to offer people, because I even because I understand that from people when we first released the diver. I can understand where people are coming from. A watch as affordable as it is when compared to the specs we offer, it's a decent amount of money for a lot of people. And when you're first on the scene, the first model, there's not a whole lot there to be proven. Like you said, you never know what it's going to be 5 or 10 years down the road. So we're pretty lucky that my dad made the decision to start when he did so long ago, so we can have that history and that track record to go off.
Yeah, and I like to think, as you guys put up models, there's a couple of signatures or hallmarks for the Swiss watch company that I think a lot of people anticipate because you execute it so well. I think one of them is excellent loom and legibility. And the other one, at least in your first couple of models, like your diver and your sports watch, is the use of ceramic. And I don't know if it'll work. I'm going to try and share maybe. Do I have a window here? Yeah.
Oh, get a loom shot?
Yeah, there we go. Is that going to show up?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I see it. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's my personal Swiss watch company diver, the first generation one. And yeah, this thing just like glows like a torch, and it's really evenly applied. And the other thing I really enjoy about it too is, again, the use of ceramic. I found this bezel is like very well done, and it's a lot of attention to detail. And like at the price point, again, you don't typically see this.
Yeah, we're looking at ceramic in anything that is action sports, other than, of course, field watch. The ceramic would be a negative probably, but in sports watches or divers watches, ceramic it wears well, and it definitely enlarges the dial area.
And as for the loom, with all of our pieces, we've added 20 layers. And from your first model, we've changed it. We've upgraded to the X1 grade. And with the watch that my dad showed, this pilot's watch that we'll be releasing later this year, we're trying to get it up to even 25 layers to kind of up the game a little bit.
Yeah, a lot of these other micro brands, they're rising to the occasion. They're rising to the challenge. So we gotta up our game right along with it. But the ceramic on the diver, for me, who's someone who's extremely hard on watches, it's nice because it keeps the whole face of the watch looking new. Because I personally am a huge fan of the look of a stainless steel bezel. But I'm only a fan of it for a certain amount of time because stainless steel it's just notoriously easy to scratch. So with ceramic, you don't have that issue. And then the raised polish markers really play with the light well, and that's a fantastic shot. That's one of my favorite ones because the light brown, depending on the lighting, will actually look like a completely different watch depending on where you're shooting it. But the ceramic bezel, that was all thanks to my dad, his design, and the loom as well. That was sourced by him. So we're lucky to have his experience and resources to be able to bring this together. Oh,
I can't hear you.
Did I mute you?
And did you mute him?
No, my mute's here.
Oh, sorry, I muted myself.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, there we go.
I was just going to mention to the chat, if you're watching, if there's a subtle distinction between this is the second generation dive watch that has a sunray dial versus what you could find on the original one, which actually had a bit of a vertical
box.
Here. I'm going to see if I can bring up, I'm just showing shots I took from my personal collection. So this is what I'm trying to show now, is your sports watch that also utilizes ceramic in a very interesting way, and I think is quite unique. You guys want to talk about maybe the design process around how you achieved that?
Yeah, that was rather challenging. It took some time to get that in place, because normally ceramic rings are on the outside of the watch on the bezel, and your accuracy requirements for that are not challenging, but creating something that needs to be packaged into the watch created a lot new challenges that were not, nobody was comfortable working with them in manufacturing. So it took some time, a lot of training, and some convincing of manufacturers. Yes, they can do it, and they can do it in a way and in a fashion that allows us to present it in the watch that we wanted. So it's we will come out with some additional next year, different dial rings that will just lighten up or change the look of the watch a little bit also. But it allows for the loom to be placed into the index, and at the same kind of depth as it would be, like 20 layers. And then because of that, still have the strong loom that you want. And the indexes are probably at the sharpest possibility that you can have, because the ceramic is polished on top with a lapping procedure, which is just a flat plate, the same way sapphire is polished. And that allows for the indexes to appear like they are applied.
Yeah, and that specific design, that ceramic ring, there's a reason that hasn't been done before, and it's because it was somewhat of a nightmare.
Yeah, it looked very challenging
to make happen. For those who've been following us from the beginning, the sports watch was in development for quite some time. It was definitely a difficult thing to pull off, but it was. In the end, it was executed well, and we were happy with it. It took longer than we had hoped and expected, but this was our last Kickstarter campaign, and we're happy we're able to deliver, and it's definitely the most unique design of all the watches we've created.
Yeah, I think you guys took a big risk with this one. If you don't mind me
it
asking,
is.
how did it do overall, right, compared to your other models? Was it a popular seller?
It was popular, but compared to the diver and especially the bunker, it doesn't even come close. But that was to be expected. I mean, you have the design this unique. You know, it's not going to be for everyone. Either you're going to love it or it's not going to be for you. Whereas with the bunker, I mean, it's a field watch, and there's only so much you can do to a field watch design before it's not a field watch anymore.
Yeah.
So we were more limited there. Whereas with the sport watch, there were no limits on what we could have done with the design.
Sorry, I'm trying to bring up.
Those are good pictures.
Very nice.
Fantastic.
Thanks. Yeah, these are all like my personal ones. I think I've posted them to Instagram as well, but.
They're really well done. The bunker is one of my favorite. Well, and the arc, they're so easy to shoot because they're photographed, because the AR coating. You don't have to worry about any domed crystals or any glare or anything. They're really camera friendly.
Yeah, they're photogenic.
Yeah, they're extremely photogenic. And you're right. I think maybe we can talk about that aspect. I think what elevated the arc was a few really good decisions. I mean, one, it's titanium and extremely lightweight and thin, but the anti-reflective treatment on the crystal is like among some of the best, even compared to some like luxury Swiss brands, or I come to think of even some German brands like Damasco or Zinn that do that for their type field or Flieger style watches. Now, is there AR coating on both sides of the crystal for the bunker, or is it just on the underside?
No, it's on both sides.
Both sides, okay.
Yeah, so on the top of the AR coating, we have a sapphire coating, which is a coating that provides hardness against the possibility of the AR coating being scratched, which takes care of basically all the scratches that, under normal wear and tear could happen. That's why it holds up so well. And if you only have AR coating on the other side, on the bottom side of the crystal, you have more glare than you would have if it's on both sides. So all of the high-end leading companies, they'll put AR coating on the front top side and the bottom side, and they have sapphire coating on top of that. So we are if you look at an IWC pilot's watch, their AR coating is identical to ours.
Yeah,
but
I
you
believe
paid
it.
$7,000 for it. So
Yeah, and it should be noted that all AR coating application is not equal. It's similar to Loom. In fact, I may have to, if I can find it, one of the first when my dad was sourcing the AR coating application, you get multiple different crystals with the same amount of layers, and you would never guess they were the same because the performance was drastically different. So it's not as simple as just telling someone, hey, I want 16 layers on this, and this is the result I'm going to get. There's much more nuance to it than that. And that's why, like you said, it's more of a rare thing to have the ARB perform this well, as opposed to, like you said, the higher end models.
Mm-hmm. There's also a couple different tinted colors to AR, if I'm not mistaken. There's a blue and a clear, correct?
You can add colors to it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. That's why I was really excited, Steve, when you showed the pilot watch. If it's got AR like this, and it's like what you find in an IWC, I think that's going to garner a lot of interest.
Well, we have talking about that. It's going to come out with 5 different colors, and it's not going to be stainless steel.
Okay.
It's titanium 5, which looks identical to stainless steel. So it's gonna be something to, lovers or haters are gonna be justified in their opinion, I think. So
it's gonna look pretty sharp. It's gonna look pretty sharp. Yeah, it'll have it'll be anti-magnetic. It's gonna have the AR. It's gonna have the Loom. It's gonna look sharp.
I think we had a question in the chat about which colorway for the bunker sells best.
So that one is it's a close race between this one here, the blue gray, and the black.
Yeah.
The black started stronger, and then the blue gray just took off, and now they've kind of evened out as we've gone to our 4th restock, I think.
Wow.
Yeah. And the khaki sold out, but it took quite a bit longer than the other 2 colorways, which is why we discontinued it. And then between the 2 new colors, the gray green outsells the brown by quite a wide margin as well. We're interested to see how the arc does, which colorway is going to be the most popular there, because we'll be catering to a completely different price bracket, that we haven't really touched before with any of our models.
Yeah. And I think that makes a good segue, because I think there's one question about nice watches. Do you plan for smaller models? And I think for reference, like your diver is quite large, about 44 millimeters. And then what's the sports watch? Is it 40 or 41?
Yeah,
41.
Yeah. And then,
that's the same as the bunker.
Yeah. And same with the bunker. But, and I know we went through each of those watches fairly quickly, but I did want to transition and talk about your latest release, which is going to be the arc here. And aside from price, I think this one comes in at a smaller size at, 38.5 millimeters?
It is 38, yeah.
Or 38, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this one will be the number one request we got with the bunker was to make a lot of people were saying they wished it was smaller. And of course, now that we have the arc revealed, we have a lot of people saying they wish it was bigger. So that's just the way it goes. But it seemed to be fitting to have a watch this size in a quartz, and then have it be really as affordable as possible, especially for the specs, because aside from the movement, it's spec'd exactly the same as the bunker. A little bit better if you factor in the thinness. So that's what we're going for. We wanted to let people in that price range who have never experienced what some would call like real watch specs to be able to get that in an affordable watch.
So can you talk about the price point? Like what's this watch is going to be selling for?
So this watch will sell for $199. So
Yeah.
we're getting to that below $200 mark. And for the Arc, there will be 7 different colorways. And as of now, I have not shared all of them through our Instagram, but we will be seeing them through YouTube as well. We just barely got the production units, so we can start, taking pictures. We're going to send them over to Ty, get some good shots taken care of, and that way we'll be able to show those off. But we are excited to kind of touch into this unknown territory for us to see what the reaction will be to the Arc.
I mean, it's actually hard to think of another watch that could compete against it in the price point from a pure like specs and in watch enthusiast standpoint, right? Because like you mentioned, you're getting pretty much everything spec'd out the way the bunker was, but you're using a quartz movement, right? Like a Swiss quartz movement.
Yep.
Yeah,
and you eliminated one of the biggest pet peeves about I think I have with quartz watches is I don't like to see it tick all the time, but you put
nobody likes that second hand. Yeah.
Like the sub-seconds hand makes this watch very pleasing. It's almost like a Nomos like style watch, but extremely legible, and it gives you that field watch vibe. So, I mean, as far as quartz watches go, I personally love this layout.
Yeah, and one thing that we're excited about with the Arc is as it's in a kind of a more affordable price range for most people, we want to do many variations in the future. So if you want to leave a comment down if you're watching to what you'd want to see in the Arc, we love hearing from our customers as to what they want, because I mean we make these watches for you, and so we want to give you what you want. So we've got a few ideas for variations, but we are open to any suggestions.
Yeah, it's the Arc. We want people, because there's a significant portion of the watch community that does not spend over $300 on a watch. And as far as micro brands go, that you're automatically priced out of most micro brands. A lot of them are in the $400 or $500 range. So we want to bring to people who are in that price bracket the specs that make people enjoy those $500-$600 watches without the price tag. So people can really appreciate what it means to have, because I think a lot of, myself included, before I was exposed to it, loom was never a big deal to me. AR was never really a big deal until I experienced what real good loom could mean, where your watch glows all night and you wake up with the kids and my watch is still glowing, and it helps you appreciate more of the features that make watches enjoyable. So we want to be able to bring that to people.
Yeah. And like for me, what I really want to highlight too is some of the advantages to quartz. And one is like the thinness of this watch. I don't know if it's going to show up, but
yeah, it's very thin.
What is this? I think my calipers measured it at under 9 millimeters.
Yes, about 8.5, 8.4.
8.4, and it also weighs nothing. Like you don't get any rotor wobble or anything. This thing, I think, is less than 50 grams on the strap, right?
It's 34
on our nylon. It comes in at 34
grams.
Yeah, very light. And yeah, I mean, quartz movements, they're just, it's the movement in this watch, it's a workhorse. It's not like you have to, not that shock resistance is a huge issue with the SW200, especially in the bunker, because it's so light. You're not getting the same impact you are on a heavier watch. But yeah, they're just good grab and go movements, and they run. They're accurate, and yeah, there's definitely advantages. And like you said, the main gripe most people have with quartz movements is they can't stand seeing a ticking second hand. So the small seconds takes care of that as well.
Yeah, that was a very smart move, I think, design-wise. Now, can I also ask, so I think the bunker had a scratch-resistant coating on the titanium. Does the Arc have this as well?
Yes. Identical, yes.
Yeah, all the specs are the same across the board. Yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible. So you're getting like pretty much all the specs for the watch for half the price, essentially.
Yeah, the hardness on the surface is something that is not necessarily appreciated or understood. But once you wear the bunker for 6 months or so, and you're like, man, when I'm gonna get the first scratch on this thing here, and you're like, oh, it has 1,000 Vickers hardness on the surface, which is, titanium normally is about 300 to 350 Vickers. So it's more than 3 times harder than the normal titanium 2 watches, and that's, it's nice to know that you still have a watch that after a year still kind of looks like, oh, this looks basically new still.
Yeah, and I think the design elements of the watch as a whole lend it to being durable and legible, because it's mostly brushed, or like I don't
It's
really
like
see a lot of polishing on it anywhere, but it really kills reflections, makes it very legible.
Yeah.
And people were saying like they're worried about the size, but I have a 7.5-inch wrist, and I just think it's extremely legible and sits really well, even if you have a larger wrist. So
Yeah, it's still very legible. One of the key differences that a lot of people will notice between the bunker, because it's definitely there's a lot of similarities in the dial design, but every numeral is a numeral. Every index marker is a numeral, and then of course you have the small second. So it's different, but a lot similar there. You can definitely see that we took a lot of design aspects of the bunker and just sized it down. But yeah, it's still very legible.
yeah, and for people in the chat, I will be doing a full review of the ARC in the coming weeks, so stick around for that. But my initial impressions are quite good, actually.
That's good to hear.
Yeah. And yeah, at the price point, I mean, it's a great gift, and I think the ARC is actually a really good transitional watch for people that really want to get into the hobby. I think at that price point, you're just getting a lot of value for money.
Yeah, we hope it'll be somewhat of a gateway, kind of a gateway watch into the Swiss watch world.
Yeah, that's the hope, because it has the features that you would expect from a higher dollar watch. Just you're not getting quite the appreciation you can get out of the beauty of a mechanical movement, but you'll still get the features and the performance that you would expect from a watch 3 times the price.
Yeah, for sure. So I think we touched on pretty much the 4 models that you've released currently. I want to take a minute to quickly go into the chat to see if there's any specific questions, if you guys are open to answering them now.
Yeah, there's a couple of questions that I saw in regards to some exotic materials to be used on the for dials, carbon fiber or Damascus steel or Damascus titanium.
Yeah.
Carbon fiber is it's somewhat challenging to use it in a sense and in a way that incorporates all of the designs that we're looking into. The newest carbon fibers that they're coming out now are carbon fibers that have some loom agents in them, but also have colors in them. And looking at that, maybe next year we could be looking at a couple of dials where we incorporate carbon fiber into some of our designs. Damascus steel. This is a Damascus steel dials. I'm not necessarily a friend of them because it increases the thickness of the watch quite a bit because it's steel and you still have to have a brass plate under it. However, we have in our small community here, we have one of the leading Damascus steel manufacturer, and if we use it, we'll do a cooperation with him, and we'll have the Area 51 Damascus steel. Okay.
Wow.
And it would all of that would be on a limited basis only. I mean, because it doesn't make any sense to do 300 or 500 pieces in that kind of a material because the clientele is not there to digest that kind of quantity.
Yeah, I think Zelos is the perfect example of how those type of limited runs can be done correctly. I think there's a lot of examples of them not going so well, but they're definitely the gold standard when it comes to exotic materials or limited runs with exotic materials. So yeah, it's something we'll want to explore, like my dad said, but it would have to be we'd have to be careful and on what we're doing, because those materials are quite a bit more expensive to do, and you have to do smaller runs, which raises the price. But it's something we want to explore.
Okay, it's great to know you're open to that. And as a cool aside, I recently purchased Zelos released their titanium swordfish, but I picked up the forged carbon one. So
really?
It's shipping out next week. I'm excited.
Oh, excellent!
That's exciting.
Yeah. Now, we did have a question about the story behind the logo. I think you probably get that question a lot. I know Sanjay at the Engineer Wannabe channel raised it, and I think there were some other people in the chat who wanted to know about that as well. So I don't know if you feel comfortable just maybe quickly describing kind of what the inception was for the Swiss watch company logo.
Okay. Well, my wife is in disagreement with me what it is, okay, and
she really is.
She's.
I tend to think she is correct, though. It makes more sense. Her story makes more sense.
She might be correct, and I might reinterpret the way I designed it. But it's either a cross or a star or the Swiss cross in the center of the dial. When we trademarked the name, we were the first one. There was a window for about 18 months where the Swiss government allowed the use Swiss in a trademark to be actually trademarked. And we were the first one to apply for that. And our first logo was the actual Swiss cross, and they shut that down. So we tried to somehow incorporate that into the logo nonetheless, that we would have it. And my attempt was I converted it somewhat into a star, but my wife says no, it's the Swiss cross. Okay, so
it's the cross. It's the cross. It was 26 years ago, and I'm going to side with my mom on this one.
My memory doesn't go that far back, but she was very instrumental in making sure the way that giving feedback into how it should go and how it should look like, and so I probably have to agree with her assessment that's what it is.
I think that's safe to say.
And then we have on the side, we have those two banners that flow into it, and I hope that we can improve the flow of those banners better into our watch design with future models that will come out with, that we give more focus to the center of the cross in there. But and then of course the name Swiss Watch Company with it as well. We're trying to make that a little bit smaller because many of you want that to be smaller or want it to be changed. So this is how it currently is trademarked in the Swiss register. So
yes, the logo is quite less now, but it can be quite divisive, and not as divisive as our company name. Holy cow! A lot of people take issue with that,
especially at the beginning.
But
right.
For those who do, I mean, we're located. We do our fulfillment from the middle of nowhere, Nevada, but we are through and through 100% a Swiss company. Like we have an office in Switzerland, and we are registered in Switzerland. We are a Swiss company. My brother, our watchmaker, lives over there. So aside from a fulfillment, all watch, he does everything. He lives over there and handles all that. So we are a Swiss watch company. So yeah, but that's I think I'm going to side with my mom and say that it's not a star. It represents a Swiss cross.
All right. Yeah, and maybe can you touch on, like, I think it was you kind of came in at the right time to choose a name with the word Swiss in it, right? Because now I don't think they'll let you, like, if you want to name a company, you can't use the word Swiss in that branding.
Well,
right? Can you?
they loosened it up again a little bit since they changed the laws for Swiss made. So the new Swissness law demands that you have 60% Swiss made content in
Right.
each watch, and that was very challenging to achieve in the ARC. But we fall within it. And
Yeah, it
one of
doesn't
the
say Swiss made on the dial, right, for the ARC.
It
Which,
will.
I mean,
It will.
I'm fine with, but
The manufacturing pieces have Swiss made written on it,
okay.
and because the loom is manufactured in Switzerland, so the dial is considered Swiss made also in itself, because the material, we purchased that in Switzerland, and then we printed so more than the movement, the assembly, the dial, then of course the design and the quality assurance, everything else that we do, that's all based in Switzerland. So we're falling into about 63-64% Swiss made content with that watch.
Yeah, and to speak to your question with the name, it's much more strict over there. It's not like here where we could just switch the name to SWC and slap it on the dial and call it good, because I know a lot of people want us to go that route. It's very strict. We couldn't just change the name and then have it be fine. Like there's very strict rules we would have to follow. And in the past, when my dad got the trademark in Switzerland for Swiss Watch Company, a certain other international watch company took issue with that. And if we changed it to SWC, chances are that conflict may resurface, especially now that
it would, for sure.
Especially now that we're doing our own watches. So it's not as simple as just changing the name on the dial. There are very, very strict rules you have to follow, having it be Swiss made and having it be a Swiss company. In the same vein, we're not allowed to make watches that aren't Swiss made. All of our watches have to be Swiss made. So there's a lot that comes with being a Swiss company and having Swiss in our name. There's certain things that we can't do. So all of our watches will be Swiss made from now into the future.
Yeah, it's nice to see, and you also get the quality and like construction that you would get for other, like in the same running as other Swiss manufacturers in many respects, right? Just at a more affordable
so
price.
we are very disciplined in going back in my experience with the manufacturers. We will only deal with manufacturers that live up to the top grade of manufacturing for Swiss made watches. We won't go into a low tier quality manufacturer and say, let's have a case done. We'll hide all the mistakes and give a price. I mean, that this is just not our philosophy that we stand behind of. So everything is top end quality for the case as well as dial and hands that we do.
Yeah, and these manufacturers, my dad, he understates it a bit. They're not manufacturers that will ever reach out to you. You have to find them, and a lot of them will turn you away.
They're not in Alibaba, okay?
Yeah. you can't just be an aspiring entrepreneur wanting to start a microbrand and reach out to one of these manufacturers. They won't take you on. You have to. It's not as easy as that. So,
well, you're kind of crushing my dreams as a microbrand watch company.
Well, hey, you know my dad, so we'll get you connected.
Okay. It's good to have an inside scoop. Thanks. And I want to mention to people in the chat as well, you guys have a very informative YouTube channel as well. So if you want to see more of these topics covered after this live stream, I recommend checking out the Swiss Watch Company YouTube channel. They do cover these topics quite regularly.
Yeah, thank you for the shout out. Well, not as regularly as of late. We need to get back on the train with those. I've been slacking, but but yeah, it's we've enjoyed that, and thank you for the shout out.
No problem. And we did have a question about when will the ARC actually be available. There's a humorous response after 40 days and 40 nights of
I think that covers it, right?
Yeah, very well said. The ARC, we will be releasing it early November. I will be sending out a newsletter in the next couple of days with a more exact date. We want to get enough time for the ARC, as we just received the production units, and we just recently got the prototype sent out, which are almost identical, just the lack of Swiss made on the dial. And we want to get those a chance to kind of circulate and to get into the community before we release a new watch that's kind of unknown and catches everybody by surprise. So we are going to give that a few weeks, and then we will announce that date very soon and get the ARC out and onto people's wrists.
Yeah, it won't be. It'll be similar to the bunker. We're not. It's not going to be a pre-order.
Mm-hmm.
When you order it, we ship it. So and it will ship out more quickly than the bunker. A lot of the delays on the bunker getting shipped out is we would get this mass amount of orders, and then we're still doing regulation checks, and there's just a lot more involved with automatic movements. So, but yeah, they're here and they're ready to go.
That's great. Yeah, and if I could add too, like now all of your ordering is done through your own website. It's not like a Kickstarter anymore, right?
Yes.
So
Yes,
as soon as
correct.
you can just go to the website, place your order, and then it's shipped out fairly quickly.
Yes, we have had issues with the website crashing. That can be fortunate or unfortunate, depending on how you look at it. Fortunate in the sense that we have enough people interested that our servers can't take it, and then unfortunate in the fact that it's not very convenient to those in less than ideal time zones in relation to our release schedule. So yeah, that's something we're continuously trying to improve. And just when we think we have it dialed in, the community goes and tests it, and to a point where it's not as dialed in as we think. So it's but yeah, aside from that, we've really enjoyed having the direct releases on our site, especially nowadays. It seems like Kickstarter campaigns in particular have are at their lowest point since I have been in the microbrand market, and it doesn't seem to be getting any better as time goes on. It only seems to be getting worse. So we're happy to be in a place where we can offer those direct releases from our site with immediate shipping.
Cool. And then I think I had one more question, maybe before winding down here, and that's you guys are also releasing a titanium bracelet for the bunker. Will it also be for the ARC as well?
It will not be for the ARC, as it is a 22. I'll go ahead and show it so everybody can see it. But we do have this on pre-order right now, and these will ship later this year in December. We are very excited for the titanium bracelet. I've been wearing it for about 5 or 6 weeks now. It has a great feel to it. You still have the lightness of the bunker, which is incredible, and that hardening coating, which really does a great job because
these are hardened as well.
They're hardened too.
They are, yeah, and it's I can't find a scratch on maybe the smallest little scratch. My brother and dad are always getting after me for finding the mistakes on watches. I did a lot of QC work, so
He's a nightmare.
my eyes trained to find problems.
Yeah, I wore one for a while, and I had some desk diving scratches on the clasp, but aside from that, really the bracelet holds up fantastically well. With scratch resistance. The hardened coating really does its job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it has the exact same color as the case.
Yeah, it matches exactly.
The hardened coating changes the color a little bit, and it's very difficult. Well, it's somewhat difficult to make sure we have the same exact color on it. So the same manufacturer that did the coating for the case also did the coating for the bracelet. So we have a match with that, and as
Yeah,
well
the
as
matching
1,000
looks
liquors.
perfect. In the press release, anyways, the press photos looks like a really perfect integration.
Yeah, it fits well.
Mhm.
We're really happy with it.
Great wrist in that picture, by the way.
Which one of you guys' wrist is that?
That one's me.
That would be Jacob, yeah.
I try to keep my wrist out of the pictures.
Nice. Okay, so yeah, I really want to thank you guys for your time. I'll try and link to your YouTube channel maybe after this one gets archived on mine. And do you guys have anything else you want to plug that maybe we didn't get a chance to talk about before we wrap up?
Yeah, anything, Jacob?
Not off the top of my head. Not that I can think of as of now, but we really love this interaction with the community. We're always happy to do this kind of stuff. So it's a pleasure being on with you, Torin.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thanks a bunch. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It's
I really
been fun.
appreciate you guys taking the time, and I hope you have a great weekend ahead.
Thank you.
You too.
Same
Take
to you.
care.
Thanks
Thanks,
for everyone
everybody.
watching. So catch you guys later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.